All right, so the FA Cup final is on this weekend. You might be wondering, why are there no Premier League matches on Saturday? Well, this is why. Crystal Palace and Manchester City face off in the FA Cup final. Palace looking to get their first major piece of silverware in their history. No, I am not counting the Zenith Data Trophy System trophy from back in the early 90s. I'm afraid that doesn't count, Palace fans. And Manchester City, of course, they are looking to get just a bit of shine on what has not been a very good season for them overall. They are, of course, serial winners of the FA Cup. They lost the final last season to Manchester United. They won the final the year before that against their local rivals, Man United. But how do I think these sides are going to get on? Who is going to be playing? And everything in between. I'm going to let you know everything you need to know about this weekend's FA Cup final this weekend at Wembley. So like I said, this is kicking off on Saturday. It's kicking off at 4:30 p.m. at Saturday at Wembley Stadium. This is going to be a huge occasion for both teams. Like I said, Palace have never won a major in their history. They've come close to winning the FA Cup twice on two occasions, back in 1990 and also back in 2016 as well, where Alan Pardew, instead of playing for the team like he was in the 90s, he was managing them and did the famous dance. I don't know what that dance was, but they did lose in the end to Manchester United. So unfortunately, Pardew became the worst kind of meme really when it came to that. But how are these sides going to actually line up? Well, let's start with Crystal Palace, because I think Palace is a much easier side to predict, because really, Oliver Glasner doesn't have as many options as what Pep Guardiola does at Manchester City, as you would expect. So I'm going to go with just one change overall from their previous match in the Premier League. I'm going to go with the same formation they usually run. Some people think it's a 4-5-1. Some people say it's like a 3-4-2-1. But either way, three proper centre backs. You've got two wing backs, two wingers, two central midfielders, and an attacker. So I'll start in goal. Of course, it's got to be Dean Henderson. Dino's been absolutely fantastic since he joined Crystal Palace. He's done a fantastic job in general, getting called up back to the England squad. Quite a few England players in here, and some players that should be getting more of a chance with England, in my opinion, such as Adam Wharton. But we'll get onto him very soon. In the centre of defence, I've gone with Richards, Lacroix, and Gehi. I don't see any reason to change that. Likewise with Mitchell and Munoz as the wing backs. Mitchell on the left, Munoz on the right. In central midfield, I've kept with Adam Wharton, but I've brought Lerma in. My apologies, actually, I'm bringing Wharton in. Wharton didn't start in the previous game, but I've got Lerma keeping his place. He's not someone who is afraid to break up the play. He's going to be very key in Crystal Palace, trying to get a foothold in the midfield where the key battles are going to be in this game. So I'll be surprised if Lerma doesn't play. I'd also be surprised if he doesn't get a yellow card at some point during this game, but I'm going with those two to start in the centre of midfield for Palace. On the wings, it's Eze on the left, Sarr on the right, and up front, of course, it's Mateta. What a story it'd be if Mateta manages to win the FA Cup with a goal, this time around against Manchester City. Remember how he was nearly, decapitated by that Millwall goalkeeper in round 4 or 5, whatever it was. And here he is with the mask on, with not the mask, it's the thing over his ear. If he manages to score a goal, I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. But we'll see what happens. He's in great form. Palace are in pretty good form in general, of course. If it wasn't for that slow start to the season, they would 100% be in a battle for a European place this time around. I see no reason why they wouldn't be up there with the likes of Brentford and Fulham, because they're not far off anyway in reality. But Manchester City, the heavy favourites coming into this one, how are they going to line up? Well, this is going to be very difficult to predict. Every position is up for grabs pretty much, with the exception of a few. I think Haaland's an absolute shoo-in to start up top. Spoiler alert about that. But even in goal, we don't know who's really going to start. Now, Stefan Ortega is normally the preferred goalkeeper when it comes to cup competitions for Pep Guardiola, so I'm going to go with him over Ederson. Ederson still been the top choice really for me in this side, but I think overall he's going to go with normally who he goes with in the cup competitions, that being Ortega. Now at left back, few people are thinking that Gvardiol's going to start at left back, but I've put Gvardiol at the centre of defence alongside Diaz. I've put Nico O'Reilly as well at left back. Now, he's been an absolute revelation in the FA Cup. He's done fantastically well, has the youngster, so I think he deserves a start. Whether he will get a start, because of course the experience does count when it comes to things like this, that's another matter. I could see Gvardiol potentially starting at left back, maybe a Kanji in centre back in place of Gvardiol, but it's hard to tell really. We'll have to see what happens there. Nunez I've put at right back. In the centre of midfield, Kovacic I think is going to be a key player for Man City. Very much a strong, tough tackling defensive midfielder. I put Bernardo Silva in there as well. I'm not too confident about him starting there. He could start further forward. He could be on the right wing, but I've put Marmoush actually on the right wing. He has started there every now and again for Manchester City since Erling Haaland has come back, and Haaland's of course going to start as the sole striker in this side. I've put Kevin De Bruyne in at attacking midfield and Phil Foden on the left wing. Foden not performing the best overall, but Guardiola seems to stick with him, so I don't see why that's going to change this time around. So I can see this side changing. I can see it being quite different. Guardiola is famous for rotating his side, but on the balance of things, I think this side is probably good enough to win the FA Cup overall against Crystal Palace. And unfortunately, guys, that is what I'm going to be going for as well with the predictions. I said pretty early on, ever since Man City were the only really top side left in the FA Cup, I said they were probably going to win it. From about the quarterfinals onwards, I said they're going to win it. I'm going to stick with that prediction. I would love to see Palace win. I'd love it if they beat them. Love it. But on the balance of things, I think the likelihood of that is very low. But, you know, Palace are a bit of a bogey side for Man City. They've caused some real upsets over the years. They really should have got something out of the game at the Etihad Stadium. They could have been 3 or 4-0 up not that long ago, but Man City came back to win, 5-2 in the end. So I think that quality is just going to shine through. Man City are in a decent run of form at the moment. I mean, yeah, not great against Southampton, but they would have had one eye on the FA Cup really at this point. So let's see what happens, guys. I'm predicting Man City to win. I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to have my favourite scoreline. I'm going to make it interesting though. Let's put it into extra time. 1-1 in regulation time, 2-1 overall to the Citizens. But I really, really hope Palace win. I'll be supporting you guys. I got a few friends who are Palace fans. You're honestly top lads. But yeah, I think this is going to be a bridge too far. Man City are really good. But you know, Palace on their day, Palace can beat anybody. Will it be their day in the FA Cup at Wembley? Third time's the charm after all. We'll have to see what happens. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys. If you want to see more of this on the Football Chronicle, and we'll see you soon for some more content like this on the channel. I'll, of course, be bringing you a review of the FA Cup as well over the weekend. So yeah, have a great time. See you very soon. And if you're going to Wembley, have a wonderful time. It's a beautiful day out, and it's a local trip for you Palace lads as well.